Thank you very much. Would you please stay with us because we just continue with the discussion. So I think we had a good overview. We got a good overview about what data repositories do we have. It seems we collect a lot of data, but there is restriction regarding access. So I will just hand over to Bettina, who will lead the discussion.
Thank you. Thank you. So I put the microphone on. Yes, yes, yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Let's see if there is already a question in the chat. No. For those who don't know me, I'm an architect as well, 20 years, self-employed, and the last 5 years, I'm a technical expert as well. And I'm involved in TIMEPAC as well. So thank you for your insights. We're packed of informations. And let's start to warm up the shoulders. There are questions probably in the audience. So who lives in an apartment? Okay. Who lives in a house? A bit less. And who is already on Metaverse? Who is already on Metaverse? No. You spoiled my question. But you spoiled my question. You spoiled anyway my joke. Okay, so yeah. And who is in the Metaverse? Who was already in Metaverse? Wow, okay, at least, yeah. So the arms are warmed up and we have questions probably in the audience already. Yeah, please.
The question is for all the speakers. In integrating data sources, a major issue is the scale of the certificate. In Italy, most of the certificates are at the level of single flat. I don't know what's the situation in other countries and if it is an issue for making plans for renovation at the higher level.
In Austria, it is the case that we have EPCs for single flats or for the whole building. Both is okay in the regulation, and we have both EPCs in the databases. Yeah, for the whole building and the dwelling. Yeah.
Yeah, in Spain it happens the same. Most of the EPCs are from individual dwellings, but I guess that's not a problem because you can backwards cross the information. You know, you can take that and convert it into housing blocks and make the strategy from that.
Austria was already answered.
Here.
Yes, this is maybe a general question, but it's what level of human resources you need to digitalize the building to make a very detailed EPC? Is it still feasible economical sense? When is the points of hours of specialists used too expensive that it's probably more feasible to renovate a building without digitalizing it first or without creating at first a very detailed EPC?
I must say that there are no very detailed EPCs. An EPC is a tool that is an approximate estimation of the energy performance, but it's not an energy audit. Energy audits, as Nicole knows perfectly, they are based on the needs of the building and based on the operational requirements of the building. But an EPC has a reference standards which group every building into those standards. But that's why, for example, in Crosser, we have calculated the performance gap of energy consumption calculated and metered. That's a different thing. But an EPC is not a tool for a really accurate energy consumption measurement or calculation. I don't know if you agree.
Yes, I agree on that.
I would go to the first round of questions we had and presentations. The question is, what am I doing with this building? If I'm just making an EPC, then the question is, yeah, it could be too complicated and economically asking. But if I'm planning a big renovation where I change a lot, where I'll change the heating system, I need all the plans. So I need the plan digitalized, and if we can combine it with BIM or with an EFC building tool, then the effort isn't that big anymore, because I already have to draw it. I have to construct the building for the building permit, for plans, for construction. And if it's just a little bit add-on to make it to the EPC, then it should be economically worth it, in my opinion.
I would like to say it's not to digitalize the building to produce the EPC. It's more to have a digital building and produce the EPC from there. I think it's just a completely change of logic. And I think the second question maybe refers to the fact what Adrián said, that the EPC is, of course, it's cheap. It can't cost much. And it's demand oriented, and it's not a precise tool in a way. But for the renovation, I think this is why the renovation passport and the roadmap complements the EPC in a way, because at least in the Commission proposal, it's designed in a way that an on-site visit is needed, that is based on consumption data, and that financing must be, access to financing must be secured. So, and we know already that the renovation roadmap and the renovation passport is more effort. But also here it depends on the level of detail, because the renovation passport is not a renovation planning, right? So it really depends on the level of detail. How much can it cost? What is the purpose? And who is the target group? Yeah. So it's a lot of discussion around that.
Okay, I wanted to state that I'm very impressed of your 7 years of renovation plan. Congratulations, I hope we do it. The two questions for me to Nicole Hartl. You had this window refurbishment strategy, and it did not meet the goals. And in the Chamber of Architects,
In this case, it did meet. Yes, it did meet the goals.
You said it could not meet the goal, and then it would
It's
be
not allowed that it not meets the goal.
Yes, and we are discussing in the Chamber of Architects right now if it is better to renovate no matter what, or if it is better to wait on until the renovation is really 100 or very good. That was the first question. And the other question I have to state is data security. I think if these data are all accessible, and we know when we talk to the house owners, they won't give us their data because everyone wants to have their data. So I'm asking, is this not a big issue that firms or no matter who accesses the data and just writes letter after letter or worse? So this is my two questions.
So the first, if I may answer the first question. A building owner has the plan of a comprehensive refurbishment to realize or to reach a nearly zero energy building. And when he can't do this all in one, or he can do it step by step. And if he does it step by step, like it was displayed here, he changed the windows and the values were lower. I can't remember. I think the U value must have been 0.7, and the windows now have 0.5, a U value of 0.5. So they applied better windows than it was planned in the whole refurbishment. So that's okay, but they wouldn't be allowed to take a window or to apply a window with a U value of 0.8. So which is higher than the one anticipated. That's the case in Salzburg at the moment. So that they have the chance, or they do not have the chance, they're not allowed to kill the chance to have a nearly zero energy building. But if you have the 0.5 windows, you can then go back to your refurbishment plan, to the comprehensive plan, and say, okay, I have windows with 0.5. Now it's possible to have a slightly higher U value at the outer walls, for example. So that's possible. But I still have to have the chance to reach a nearly zero energy building at the end. if you can, that's another aspect of the whole renovation wave discussion. Yes, if someone can't afford that, yeah. Point.
Yeah, they're both really good questions and really hard questions to answer, in my opinion. It's yeah, it's what is the goal to reach? If you say it's okay, in my, this is just personal opinion. If you say it's okay, we define some goals. These goals have to be unified and with committee, and said that the goal is now to have a 0.7 window. Then there was a discussion about it, and if you say it's okay, yeah, okay, if it's 0.8, you can build it, but where to stop? If he says it's now we have 1.5 U value, and he says I can't afford a 0.8, take a 1.1 or something like this. So where start, where stop? And this is maybe the hard part to say. Yeah, you have to meet this, in my opinion, and try maybe to help him somehow to meet these conditions, or you can because the EPC is always a whole building. You look at the building as a whole. So maybe if for example, you can say you can't meet this, so maybe you have better walls, better roof to compensate for this, or you could change for another heating system which compensates. Maybe this could be a possible way to target this. And yeah, but it's a really good question, this to ask it. And yeah, the second part also, the data protection. It's really, we work in a rural, in Lower Austria, rural area, and it's exactly every time I talk with people, it's hard to get to the data we need from them. And we already had some concepts how to do this and how to get to the data, and it's more like concepts. But maybe if it would be interesting if people feel more safe if data isn't with a private company, which also supports Coca-Cola and Nestle, and also with their municipality. So if the data is collected there and they aren't going to send them ads for some product or something, so only use it to give them hint, or as I mentioned, to send them infos about financial aid they can use to get to this. So yeah, I would feel safer with the municipality having data than a big company sitting somewhere I don't know where.
I have to make a small correction here, but it just shows how important communication is, because actually Gizmokraft is only a service provider for the provincial government. But of course, when you look at the website, the first thing you see is Coca-Cola and Nestle. Yeah, and I fully understand that that there is a kind of misperception in a way, but actually in this case it's just a software company providing the service of database programming for the provincial governments. And actually the provincial governments then decide about regarding the access to data. Yeah, but I fully understand your point and your view, and you are not the only person saying that. It's let's say you can find it in several places, so it's probably getting an issue in a way. So the data in that database is under the provincial law, under the regional law. And regarding data protection, I wanted to say that we had long discussions about making data accessible. There was a project called ENA-Fund where we tried that. We had discussion with the legal people. We did experts' opinions. And actually in Austria, the data protection law is, we don't only have to comply with the data protection regulation, we also have an Austrian data protection law, which is scattered in different legal, let's say, in legal legislations. So it's very hard to have a full overview and not to make mistakes. Sometimes it's just to say we don't do it, just to be on the safe side. But sometimes it's also a strategy not to have to deal with it. That we say, no, we have a strict interpretation of data protection rules, and we just don't want it or we can't do it. So what they did in Salzburg is, I have to maybe explain that this database is used in Salzburg since 2007. So it's a long history and there's a lot of data inside. I think Lower Austria was the last province to join in June, I think. Yeah. And meanwhile, 6 provinces are linked to that database. And so in Salzburg, they are the most advanced one and they try different things. This is what Nicole also showed. So we have the monitoring there. We can do meta data inside, but the issue is it's not very much used, right? It's not very much used because people don't see the benefit. Why should I use it? So in theory, we have the opportunity to compare the EPC with the measured data, but the data are not there. Yeah, and so it's like how to convince people to put the data in, and then the question is, okay, for what? Who will use them? And actually, there is the possibility that building owners can give access to the data actively. So this possibility is present in the Salzburg database, but also it's not used at all. And people can even upload additional information, so they can really complete all the information about the building in that, let's say, unique building account, but it's not used. Yeah. And of course, if for you as an architect, it would be perfect if such a person gives you access to the account, right? Yeah, yeah. So how to motivate people to do that?
That's the question. Yeah.
That's the question. And regarding financing, just a comment, that's a crucial thing. If there is no money, things won't be done. And actually what I know is that funding providers in Austria are working to rework their funding models to make them simpler and more suitable.
Yes. I have a question regarding the energy audit concept too. And it's actually there. I have 2 questions. The first one is if the site visit and the consumption reading data, it's considered the energy audit for example, residential building. If this data is enough to achieve results for the building renovation roadmap in terms of economy and in terms of all possible renovation activities that can be taken by the building. And the second one is about your perspective of including all other indicators within this energy audit to achieve that people will be more willingness to buy the building passport. All of it in cost-effective terms of the EPBD recast.
Maybe I start, yeah. Just briefly, maybe. So the renovation is never done only because of energy purposes. Renovation is always a comprehensive concept. And what we are discussing with Martina Hoffmann, for example, from the real estate program of the University of Applied Sciences in Vienna here is that we connect an energy audit with Objektsicherheitsprüfung, which is a kind of you have to check the building in regular periods of time if the building still complies with security obligations. So it's actually to check the damages, and in the end, for multi-unit residential buildings, the renovation roadmap should be linked with the maintenance and repair plan and combined with an energy audit. That would be the idea from my point of view.
Yeah, what Susanne mentioned a little bit is that refurbishment often has its origin in the uncomfortable feeling in a building. So you need an on-site visit to go there and to see the windows, to see the construction of the building, to be able to to propose a really good refurbishment concept. And yeah, and the comfort thing is one point which is can be convincing, can be the convincing argument for the building owner. Yeah, the improvement of the comfort in the building, and of course the energy costs.
I would like to add something. In Spain, for example, we don't have this kind of energy audits regularly. It's only for big companies. But from the second question, we need to include these new indicators. For example, from Spanish standards, changing windows would never be cost effective, never, for any building. But that's nonsense, because they are producing that your body radiates heat to that cold surface, but it's not cost effective. So we need to, I'm telling this because we are developing an assessment on this in Crosstert for the second round of EPCs. And one of the points is this: we need to include comfort asset ratings, for example, for these things, because you need to add more information for the final user. Okay.
And more understandable information, because comfort is understandable. Heat energy demand is a little bit confusing, or it's harder to understand for the normal building user.
I have a question also to Adrian. Lucas Kranzel, thanks a lot for this presentation. I was very inspired by your work and the plans. I also coming a bit back to this data availability point and accessibility and what is public data and so on. As far as I understood, you did this analysis based on building specific data also, no? And as far as I know, in Spain is one of the more advanced countries in terms of sharing data also. And I know, for example, there is one of these maps transposing the long-term renovation strategy on the building level. So I wanted to ask you simply also, to which extent is this plan also communicated then to the general public, and also in terms of, yeah, on the building level, communicated to the general public? And if there is still time, second question, did you consider also rebound effects in your estimation of the energy savings?
First question, we are not communicating anything to anybody but our coordinator, because it was a last minute idea. Sorry, Silvan, we are late on the delivery. But it's because we tried to make more understandable the point of including the CPCs on databases, and we wanted to make an example of that with an easy tool. And the second one, can you repeat the question?
On the rebound effects, let's say whether it's considered that usually after the renovation, energy service levels change, so indoor temperatures and comfort levels and so on.
Yeah. No, we haven't taken into consideration that, but because it's really a personal thing. For example, I live in an apartment which is in the roof, and I don't put the heating because my house is continuously at 22 degrees without heating. But my neighbor downstairs, she has to be at an operating rate of 30 degrees to heat my house. You know, it's not applicable in a larger scale basis, I guess.
Okay, question for Nicole, and maybe some answers already came from. Okay, I have two questions. You say that you can include different data sets or data in this platform that you presented. So it is based on the will of the end users. The integration is not there.
Yes.
This is okay. This is the first question, just to understand better. And then also, if you can go back and the fact that you are not allowed to renovate if this, I mean, what does it mean exactly? Because, for example, to change the windows in my country is not something you have to ask for a permit under certain conditions. So what does it mean not to be allowed? Is there an authority giving you permit or money? And okay.
The first thing was the integration of data. For example, the meters, the building owner has to permit the use of the meters, of the different meters. So there are digital processes behind the program, and he can integrate and link the meters. The building owner has to do that. The first time, and then it's an automated system between the energy provider and the system. The second one is the renovation part. You don't have to have a building permit for changing the windows, but if you would like to have funding for that measure, for example, you have you have to meet the requirements. Yeah. Would you like to?
Add that a lot of I just wanted to add that a lot of reparation or renovation activities are started by insurances and for safety reasons, and not just for comfort things.
Yes, thanks.
For the questions of how can we get the data maybe from the people, just a concept we had in the office to get out of this bubble, of the building bubble, and all we're already interested in all these topics, is and to go into the schools and just to show the people what the EPCs mean, because they're just some colorful science, and the people don't really know what it means. So maybe just show them and teach them a little bit, and then maybe it's easier if they understand what this means to get the data. So yeah, out from the bubble to the school, maybe.
So I think that's a nice